Hey guys, Josh here. Welcome to the All Out Safaris podcast, your go-to podcast for all things safari. With me today is Shelby.
Hey guys.
And today we want to give you an introduction to All Out Safaris and what you can expect from the podcast. We'll be talking about all things safari, from travel tips to wildlife photography, and we'll share some cool safari stories with you as well. But I think we'll start with a bit of background and talk about the history of All Out Safaris. So I'm Josh, I'm your guide and tour host. So I'll be doing all of your safaris, including transfers and hosting out of the lodges. I'm also a professional wildlife photographer, and I'm the guy behind the camera on a lot of the content you see and behind the phone on a lot of the social media. I've been basically going to the bush since I was 10 years old. I've been mainly focusing on, big cats. That's always been the biggest passion. I went to the Kruger for the first time when I was, I think, 10. And since then, I've always wanted to, just see them more and more and more and more. And it became like a sort of a burning passion. Anytime you go there, what you want to see is always leopards and lions. I was very fortunate that I saw leopards in the bush before I saw lions, so I think that's probably where my love for leopards come from. That's why a lot of you guys at one point started calling me the leopard guy, which is where the Instagram handle came from. And I've been following big cats since then. Multiple times a year my dad and I would go to the bush, whether it be Kruger and Pilanesberg, and we just follow the movements of all the different leopards and lion prides, and try and capture some awesome moments. I was lucky that I was given a camera before my first ever Kruger trip, and since then I've never gone without one. So the wildlife photography is it goes hand in hand with the passion for the bush, because I always like capturing those moments, and it's all part of the same experience for me. And I think that's where forming All Out Safari started, because we started with the company being called Ivoryscape, which was aimed to be a photographic safari company, and then we sort of just expanded our horizons from there. I did my qualifications in 2022, my guiding qualifications, and since then I've basically been guiding. And then I knew around COVID was when this was the path I really wanted to pursue, and I always knew I wanted to be a private safari guide and have our own business. And then Shelby and I met in January 2021. And then from there, both of our passions sort of sparked together, and that's brought us to where we are today. But yeah, over to you.
Yeah, so if I actually think very carefully, my first bush experience was actually before I could even remember, but it was actually Hlahluwe. Because right. We actually used to go down to the south coast, and then obviously while we were there in St. Lucia, we would then probably pop over to Hlahluwe for a day or whatever. So yeah, that's actually my first bush memory. And from there, probably my first introduction to the Pilanesberg was at Kwamaritani in about, I think it was the year 2005, maybe 2006. And my school friends, they used to go to the Pilanesberg, and they gave us that week or the weekend or whatever it was to stay in a chalet at Kwamaritani, and we sort of got introduced to the Pilanesberg, and we loved it from there. And so we started having more bush holidays, and then we would also go to Ngwenya Lodge at the Kruger probably once a year, but obviously Pilanesberg was more like 2 or 3 times a year.
It's closer to home, I suppose.
And so my photography actually started with those Canon SX power shots, with those really long optical zooms, and because I would basically be given the camera in the back seat to take all the photos and stuff. So that's actually where my photography started. So it always felt very natural for me behind the camera. I've always understood camera settings and composition and all that. Obviously you grow your skill over the years, but that's where it actually started for me. I don't even know what year that was. It was probably when I was finishing up primary school, so 2010, maybe thereabouts. I can't even remember. So yeah, it's been a really long time that we've been going to the bush and behind the camera, and it was 2016 that I got my first DSLR camera, Nikon, and since then sort of upgraded to semi-professional camera, also DSLR. But yeah, just been absolutely hooked on photography and the bush, and it's luckily with the Pilanesberg it changes all the time, and we've been able to be privileged enough to see and experience the change that it's been going through, especially with the leopards. So yeah, it's been one of those things where we love the big cats, 100% lions and leopards. You know, it's actually on mine and Josh's bucket list to see all of the big cats in the whole world, in the wild, you know.
Capture them, anyway, be able to capture that,
So that's kind of on our bucket list, and so yeah, that's where our heart is really. But it's been really such a privilege to start All Out Safaris with Josh, just purely because we did actually meet in the bush. That's where our passions lie, and so now we get to sort of mush it all together, photography, bush, and we get to host people from all over the world, and it's been going really wonderful so far.
It's been amazing, Like, also, I think the most amazing part of being able to host these safaris is you can see how much the wildlife, and especially African wildlife, is appreciated worldwide. Because we've had people from all over the world, Brazil, all the way to Australia, all the way to Spain, America, the UK, China. You know, it's amazing that it's appreciated worldwide, and it's great to be able to host people and learn about people from all their different backgrounds. And I think to have the passion that we do for the bushes got to do, I guess, with our main goal is to be able to try and get people to have that same passion as well, to share that with people, so you can share the love for, I guess, the natural world with all of these people, because it's all
about the experience. I mean, there's nothing nicer than having an amazing sighting, and it's like etched into the back of your memory, and the people from all over the world get to go home and tell their friends and family about this story and share it with their friends and family. And most people, as you know, like, it's on their bucket list to basically go on a safari in Africa, and a lot of people choose South Africa because it just offers so much in the way of wildlife, and even from bush to mountains, basically. But yeah, it's just so exciting, and it's about creating that experience for these people.
And I mean, it's even just exposing people to what we were exposed to growing up. You know, we were very lucky to be able to grow up going to these places where a lot of these people, you know, they would say they've been planning to go to Africa their whole life, and they only get to go once in their life, you know. So we're incredibly lucky to be able to show people, you know, the African bush, and just South Africa and all the natural areas. I mean, just South Africa as a whole. I mean, from Cape Town to the Drakensberg to Kruger, Madikwe, and then even places like Hluhluwe, Pilanesberg. You know, there's so much that South Africa has, and you know, it's I guess it's really great to be able to share that with people who haven't experienced it the way we have. But I think we're going to keep this episode sort of short and sweet. But moving forward, what you guys can expect from the safari travel tips and wildlife photography is things like the do's and don'ts when on safari etiquette, and then what gear you should bring when going on safari if you're wanting to capture these moments, and then the different kinds of safaris that you go on, from budget to luxury. There's going to be there's so many variables that go into choosing a safari and going on a safari, and we hope that this content will make it a lot easier for you when planning a safari. But if you guys do want to find out more about us, you can check our website. It's alloutsafaris.com. All the links to our social media and websites will be in the description, and we hope you guys enjoy. And we look forward to sharing a lot more content with you guys.
Yeah, until next time.
Cheers.